Good afternoon, class. We hope you enjoyed your Thanksgiving and holiday weekend. We are SEPA Group 4, which includes me, Tammy Connolly, Kayla DeBetta, Vanessa Conwell, and Kaylee Klein. We have chosen to build a marine terminal. The new Neptune Marine Terminal project would be located on 65 acres just north of Neptune Beach and bordering the Lummi Reservation. The new marine terminal would include an upland conveyor, a container crane, a ship loader, mooring dolphins, and associated equipment needed. In-water construction would include the construction of a new marine terminal, a wharf, and berths for each ship. This would support 2 ship loaders capable of serving small vessels. The proposed wharf would need to be constructed deep enough to accommodate the incoming and outgoing vessels, as well as safe and efficient loading and unloading of the said vessels. The support construction would include a storage building, an administrative maintenance building, a parking lot, and vehicle circulation area, which will be constructed adjacent to the terminal. The Neptune Marine Terminal construction would begin by us contacting the following state and federal agencies to obtain permits. We would contact the Department of Ecology to help and assist with the shorelines and environmental process to include our SEPA plan, which we will go over, clean air permit, stormwater management permit, wastewater treatment permit, a dredge permit, and of course our construction permits. We would contact the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, the U.S. Coast Guard, and all local Whatcom County permitting offices to apply for all necessary permits needed to complete our project. This project comes with many great benefits for the surrounding areas and ports. Some potential benefits for this proposed project would include low transportation cost, increased storage capacity, accessibility inland and at the shore, ease of merchandise transport, stability, and creates lots of new employment and opportunities in local area. This proposed project also has a potential to increase revenue for the surrounding Whatcom County area and the Pacific Northwest. We would need to provide environmental impact studies and would need to mitigate any potential environmental impacts for all of the following environmental elements. The soil and erosion. The site location consists of loessstein still, an outwash clay, silt, sand, gravel, cobbles, and boulders. The current site plan does not include any modification to the shoreline slopes. The mitigation of the earth, the adverse effects of construction work due to minimized by appropriate selection of equipment in pile driving or dredging, proper use of silt curtains, and careful planning of the settling ponds and overflow for landfills and suitable transport of construction materials and dredge materials. Proper disposal of these dredge materials plays a crucial part in preserving the earth when doing this project.
All right, I am Kaylee and I will be talking about air and water. Major air pollutants generated by port activities may include carbon monoxide, volatile organic compounds, nitrogen oxides, sulfur oxides, and particulate matter. Some examples of sources of these air pollutants include trucks, marine vessels, locomotives, cargo handling equipment, oil refineries, oil and gas storage facilities, power generation, and the storage of open piles of coal. Mitigation of air. The temporary pavement of roads can considerably reduce dust emissions. Other methods for controlling emissions are water scattering, proper use of transportation methods, and open space created between the construction site and local community. For the pollution of water, port operations can have a significant impact on water quality and the health of marine life. Waste from ships and other port activities can result in loss or dredgation of habitat areas and can also harm marine life. Common water pollutants include wastewater. Ships typically release oil contaminated sewage and wastewater. These discharges are actually regulated by state, federal, and local governments. Ship paint. Ships are typically painted with an extremely toxic paint to prevent barnacles from sticking, and this paint can harm wildlife and marine life. Stormwater runoff. Stormwater often runs off of the paved surfaces at a port, collecting pollutants and depositing those pollutants into the water. Often this stormwater tends to bypass wastewater treatment plants. Nitrogen. Nitrogen is a leading cause of pollution in marine systems. Algae blooms use up the oxygen in the wetland and water and cause fish and shellfish to die. Oil spills are extremely common when unloading and loading oil tankers. Oil contamination can cause chronic pollution from runoff water and wastewater. Tears in a ship's hull will also cause oil leakage and spills. Dredge, the removing of sediment to deepen ship canals will increase dredge, which is cloudy water. This will disturb contaminated bottom sediment and will harm or permanently destroy wildlife habitats or harm and kill threatened or endangered species. Invasive species, marine animals can be taken into the ship's ballast water that is used to help maintain the ship balance and then transport across the world to new habitats where they may become invasive species. This will threaten the balance of natural ecosystems. Current water changes. The location of a port may cause changes in current patterns and littoral drifts due to the alteration of wave refraction, diffraction, and reflection. The change of littoral drifts may lead to erosion or accretion in shore zones. Altered currents or reflected waves may endanger small ships maneuvering near structures. This can also affect the creation of port. The creation of a port may cause changes in river flow and waterfront drainage, excuse me. For the mitigation of water, careful site selection and port design are extremely important and should be carried out, focusing on the possibility of water stagnation. If the basic pollution level is critically high, a sewage treatment system will be planned and placed as part of the environmental management. We do plan to test the pollution level of the water. Regulations on discharges of effluents into water and provisions of sanitary treatment facilities are indispensable for reducing pollutants. In a polluted port or bay, it could be effective to dredge or cover contaminated bottom sediment, capping to reduce the flux of pollutions from the sediment to the water. As for the current water changes, a model experiment or computer simulations of these changes are very useful in developing an appropriate design. And typical measures against beach erosion are construction of seawalls, jetties, offshore breakwaters, and periodical beach nourishment.
Hi, I'm Vanessa, and I'm going to talk about plants, animals, and humans and the environmental effects on them. So in the area, there's patchy areas of eelgrass that border the proposed site. Although it's patchy, it still provides food, habitat, and shelter for many of the juvenile salmon, crabfish, and other spawning fish in the area. The fastest growing seaweed in the world, bull kelp, has also been found in the area. It can grow from a tiny spore to about 120 feet, although in Puget Sound waters, it usually only reaches about 30 feet in length. The coastal dune grass is the dune grasses. It provides excellent habitat for seabirds and grows between 2 and 4 feet long. And it also acts as a stabilizer for sand and erosion. And there are also pine trees located on the site. For mitigation of plants, the deforestation and land clearing during construction will result in loss of natural plants as well as habitat and food for animals in the area. any areas not within the project site will be protected and serve as a natural reserve. Areas that have been cleared but are no longer necessary for the project will be replanted. There's a high probability that marine plants will also be destroyed during the construction process, such as the patchy eelgrass, which we will attempt to replant and ensure minimal change to the environment. We'll attempt to preserve the eelgrass in low traffic areas of the terminal in order to maintain some protection of the natural plant and aquatic animal life. Animals, there are many mammals located or in the area. The gray wolf is the only on the endangered list, and our project may have impacts on the conservation management plan for the gray wolf population in the area. There's also big brown bats, little brown bats, which are not listed, the marbled merlot, streaked horn lark, yellow-billed cuckoo, all of which are threatened. The bull trout, which is also threatened, Dolly Varden, surf smelt, there may also be in the area, but are not listed. Then we have sand lance, which spawn along the marine shorelines and deposit their eggs in the sand and sandy gravel beaches, Pacific herring, Dungeness crab, which are all not listed, monarch butterfly, which is a candidate to be listed. So for animals in the area, there's all common animals in Washington state, like deer, elk, the mountain goat, mule deer, cougar, black bear. These are all common in Washington state. However, none of them are endangered or under any specific protection. However, there very likely will be some present at the site, and we'll need to be aware of their effects on them, as some are prey for the gray wolf, an animal that is on the endangered list and is of concern in the proposed area. For mitigation of animals, mainly our main concern would be the gray wolf population in the area. So we would need to conduct a study and find out if there's any dens located within about half a mile radius of the project. If there are any dens located, we'll have to relocate the project or just not do the project in that location. For other common land animals, we'll replant areas that we know no longer need to be cleared in order to provide a habitat for them. For aquatic animals, we'll maintain any natural habitat that we can, as we're not planning to modify the shoreline slope. We'll replant aquatic plants in order to help maintain the habitat and encourage continued life and spawning in the area. For humans, the proposed area is currently primarily forest land with some roadways for the refinery. The area is currently zoned for major port and industrial use. So for human mitigation for humans, the construction will be limited to daytime hours in order to reduce noise and light at night. Post-construction, noise and lights from ships coming in and going out and operations at the site may cause extra noise during all hours. The residential area of Neptune Beach should be minimally affected by the operations at the site.
And my name's Kayla, and I'll be closing this out. So we do plan on doing an overall mitigation and having techniques for everything, including water, air, earth, plants, animals, and humans. We do recognize that all of these will be affected by this project. And our final recommendation for this project is that we do not end proceeding with this project for 3 major reasons. The first is the land is currently owned by Phillips 66 Company, and the need to require resources and permits for this project far exceed the benefits of the project and would bring that, the requirements of the sources and permits would far exceed the benefits of this project that would bring to the surrounding areas and ports. Secondly, the dredging at the proposed location would cause the spawning beds of the sand lance, surf smelt, and herrings, eelgrass, and kelp. It would be too much damage for the habitat, and the environmental impact would be too detrimental for these animals and plants. We also have the endangered species with the wolves possibly in the area, and that disrupting their habitat would not be allowed. So lastly, the location of the location is bordering the Lummi Reservation. The elders of Lummi Nation have expressed concern over any new marine terminals in the adjacent areas. They stated that new construction violates their treaty rights under the 1855 Treaty of Point Elliott Act, which is under Article 5, grants signatory nations the right of taking fish at usual and accustomed grounds and stations is further secured to said Indians in common with all citizens of the territory. Further, they argue that the presence of the terminal could irrevocably damage religious and sacred sites. So with that being said, we do not recommend proceeding with the project for these main reasons. Thank you for watching.